What if I told you that behind Poland's festive caroling tradition lies a tale of pagan rituals, mythical beasts, and a celebration of life cycles? The eerie figure of Turoń, a half-goat, half-bull symbol of fertility, the colorful star that once represented the sun. These traditions have roots far deeper than Christmas. I'll be exploring how these pagan customs evolved alongside Christianity, creating the unique celebration of Kolędowanie, a tradition of New Year's blessings, joy, and the triumph of light over the darkness. Most people, when they think of pagan traditions in Poland, think of pre-Christian traditions that were replaced entirely by Roman Catholic ones. The reality is that it's a lot more complex than that. It's a much more symbiotic relationship, where pagan traditions mixed with the Christian and were not totally eradicated from Polish culture. Kolędowanie is an example of such a tradition. This traditional Polish winter caroling practice originated as a pagan ritual celebrating fertility, renewal, and the coming of spring. It eventually evolved into a custom that blended the pagan and Christian tradition. Groups of carolers visited homes during the Christmas season, singing songs, reciting poems, offering blessings of prosperity in the new year, and receiving gifts in return. The roots of the Kolędowanie tradition date back to the Middle Ages, to around the 13th to 15th century. Then it was linked to Szczodre Gody, the pagan winter solstice celebration. Poland was an agrarian society. Most people worked the land, and their prosperity was deeply linked to nature and the seasons. A rich harvest would mean plenty of food to eat, while a poor one could be absolutely disastrous. And the people of Poland were pagan. Even after the Christianization of Poland in the year 966, many pagan rituals and beliefs were still practiced hundreds of years later, as the church wasn't fully able to erase these customs, and instead insisted that they just take on a new Christian meaning. Today, Kolędowanie is a dying custom. It usually takes place between the 26th of December, St. Stephen's Day, and the 6th of January, Three Kings Day, as the carolers go door to door, singing and reciting poems with well wishes for the new year. They are dressed as familiar Christmas characters. There are the three wise men, angels and shepherds, Herod, all led by the Star of Bethlehem. But the procession also includes some figures you might not expect. And here's where the Christian tradition mixes with the older pagan one. In the pagan tradition, the procession is also led by a star. But it's not the Star of Bethlehem. It's actually the sun star. Kolędowanie was performed during Szczodre Gody, the winter solstice celebration. The ritual celebrated the triumph of light over the darkness and the hope of the coming spring. The carolers, who then were all men, would sing and recite poems that were heavily focused on fertility, in exchange for some small tokens like food, money, or mostly spirits. There was a belief that the words in the songs and poems they recited were more powerful if they were uttered by the non-human, and so there was an element of dressing up in this tradition. The characters in the Polish pagan kolenda included characters like the devil, goats, death, portrayed by a grim reaper figure, and the mythical Turoń. This last character was the most mysterious. A shaggy, horned beast, half bull, half goat, he was a symbol of fertility and agricultural abundance. Turoń was almost certainly based on the European aurochs, a now extinct cattle species prevalent in Europe, and the ancestor of all our modern cattle. The last known aurochs actually died in Poland in 1627, but it had slowly disappeared from European countries, even centuries before that. It had thrived in Europe for thousands of years. Some of the first depictions of the aurochs are actually featured in the Lascaux cave in France, where the cave paintings date back 22,000 years. Aurochs bones discovered in France date back a staggering 240,000 years. The aurochs was one of Europe's most important animals. It was massive. The tallest aurochs could stand 1.8 meters at the shoulder. They provided meat, dairy, leather, and they also pulled heavy loads. Sadly, they were hunted to extinction in the 17th century. The aurochs was always a symbol of fertility, sexual potency, power, and this then translated to the figure of Turoń. During the kolenda, Turoń would go around scaring children and harassing young women by charging at them with his horns. At one point during the caroling, in a dramatic performance, Turoń would drop dead to the floor and he would be revived by the household with food and spirits. Historically, goats and bulls always represented virility, and so the death and rebirth that played out during this caroling was symbolic of the harvest, as well as just human fertility in the coming year. This would also explain Turoń's fascination with the young female members of the households he visited. When Turoń left the house, the carolers would sing, "Gdzie Turoń chodzi, tam się żytko rodzi. A gdzie nie chodzi, tam się nie rodzi. Gdzie jego stopy, tam staną kopy." Which translates to, where Turoń goes, there the rye grows. And where he doesn't go, there it doesn't grow. Where he sets foot, there will be large yields. Other characters of the Kolęda tradition came to represent other aspects of traditional life. The devil represented chaos and mischief, adding a humorous element, while also symbolizing the defeat of evil. The skeleton-like Grim Reaper symbolized our mortality, and also the cyclical nature of life. Poland's tradition of caroling is not unique in Europe. Many countries have a very similar custom, most notably the wassailers in England, Perchtenlauf in Austria, Julbuking in Norway, and Mari Lwyd in Wales. In all of these pagan winter customs, groups travel house to house and sing in exchange for food, money, or drink. They bring with them blessings for a prosperous new year and a good harvest. These traditions, just like the Polish Kolęda, have largely been replaced with Christian traditions. And the similarities extend to the characters that make up the ensemble. In the Alpine Perchtenlauf tradition, Perchta was a frightening figure, rewarding and punishing people depending on their behavior. She symbolized the dual nature of nature itself, able to sustain life, but also able to take it away. The Yule goat tradition in Scandinavia and the Mari Lwyd tradition in Wales both symbolized fertility and the harvest. Most similar to Poland's Turoń tradition is Mari Lwyd, a skeleton horse skull that chased children and adults. Although there is no historical proof that the Mari Lwyd was associated with the Welsh pagan past, its similarities to traditions like Kolędowanie certainly imply as much. All of these characters, Turoń included, emphasize themes of fertility, harvest and nature, and renewal tied to the changes of the seasons. Today, the pagan aspects of Kolędowanie have largely been downplayed, or even removed from the Christmas celebration. More popular is the Christmas pageant, or jasełka in Polish, which focuses on the nativity scene and the birth of Jesus. Kolędowanie, while still practiced and, yes, now includes women, today emphasizes community and joy more than fertility. The traditional poems and songs in villages have been replaced with Christian Christmas carols, but Kolędowanie is still done to wish people a prosperous new year with much joy, health, happiness, and abundance. And that's what I wish all of you for the coming new year. Thanks for watching. And if you've liked this video, why not give it a like and subscribe? You can also check out some other videos. I have one on the pagan Polish Christmas Eve traditions that you might find interesting.